Well, hello and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson. I'm thrilled to be back here with my partner, Bill Weidecker. Hello, Bill.
Well, hi there. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
So we're here in this beautiful KW Metro studio. I guess today's the Fine Homes Group studio, huh?
It is the Fine Homes Group studio. We get the naming rights for at least the next hour.
Today we want to talk about timing of the market and specifically timing for sellers for listings around holidays. So we're actually going to pre-record a little bit about the July 4th week and then take a look back at it in our next podcast. I'm excited about that.
It's going to be interesting to see when we do pull up the numbers after the holiday weekend. And what we've noticed is, in my opinion, is a missed opportunity. And we're going to talk about that when we get deeper into the numbers here today. But I do believe that you need to have a strategy to employ. And part of that strategy, if you're a home seller, is got to be a conversation that you have with your realtor. And we're going to make the case as to why we should be those people.
First of all, so the buyers are outstripping sellers 1.5 to 1, a little
Correct.
more than that. And which we, had a bit of not a hiatus, but that number was that difference is diminishing a little bit for a while, right? So we definitely have the demand. And, we talked about this earlier, but it's the holiday. So people think, oh, well, I shouldn't buy a house on the market when it's a holiday for buyers too. They're around, right. They're off work, they're with family. It's kind of like the microcosm of what happens at Christmas time, where people are kind of nesting, visiting with each other. There are people who are in town, and we see a lot of people from out of state who want to live in New Hampshire. So people in town visiting, someone might have the urge to go to an open house or go look at a property. But sellers are thinking, oh, everyone's taking the time off from work, which means they're available to go house hunting, right?
That's so true and with certain holidays that don't fall on a Monday, oftentimes people are taking these extended vacations and traveling.
Yep.
So like to your point, people coming here, how many times have you and I ever traveled somewhere? We go there and we're hanging out for a few days and we go, I could live here.
Look, someone's making your bed every day and so on and so on.
Good restaurant.
There's no kitchen in sight. Yep.
Maybe that's it. No, but people do decide, I've missed being back here, and family decides to move back because they're here visiting other family members. Yep. And these things happen at the last minute, and they walk into an open house and say, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. And actually, they do look really beautiful right now. Everything is green and lush and flowers are blooming. And I know New Hampshire is a state for all seasons and all activities, but this time of year is beautiful to everybody and offers opportunities for everybody recreationally. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer. So what do we say to sellers so here's what I also think. I think part of the reason that we don't have the inventory we need on the market is kind of a vicious circle, is because many would-be sellers are also buyers, and they don't have to buy. They don't have to sell something to buy, so they're waiting to find something. We just had clients yesterday, I hadn't shared this with you yet, that called and said, and they've been looking for a long time, and what they've looked at has changed. Anyway, but they said, we're actually thinking maybe now we should just rent and then figure out exactly where we want to be, what we want. And I think it's a great idea for now, for them, because that gives them, first of all, it gives them the peace of mind of knowing exactly how much they're taking out of their current home. And that's been a $50,000, $75,000 swing in one direction or another definitely impacts what they can and should buy. They don't have to sell to buy, but having that information is empowering to them. So I think it's a great idea. There are more and more rentals popping up everywhere. And I'm not saying that should be a forever thing, but it's a great interim step to have that flexibility, which also gives you the information you need to make the right decision. So I encourage that, and we did it.
Sure.
Right?
We were willing, and listen, we're professionals in the marketplace. We do this, been doing it for 40 years, and we were willing to employ the strategy that some of our clients employ, which is if you don't have a place to buy, be willing to rent if that's the case. It's not for everybody, but it certainly was. It worked for us, and we were able to execute when ready, right? So
Right.
I think that's kind of the most important thing. Is some of these strategies aren't going to work for somebody that's going to have 25 family members in for the entire weekend. Maybe they're not going to put their house on the market, but to just stall putting their house on the market because it's a holiday weekend is not the best answer for them in all cases.
Correct.
And I think that's where seasoned professional advice can come in handy, where someone says, well, I don't think I should put it on the market this week. And the other agent says, okay, that may not be the best answer.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Or I should say, where might they get that seasoned professional advice?
How about here?
How about right
here at Define Homes?
All right, that sounds
So
fair.
that seemed like a loaded question. Did I get it right? I think I
You
did. So the other thing that I've noticed this week in the past 7 days, price changes are way up, and they have been for the last month. Meaning, when I look at a 7-day window, and I look at it every day for the previous 7 days, they used to be under 100. Now they're around 125 every day. Meaning for the previous 7 days, 125 sellers said, I don't think my price is right, let's lower it. And so now there could be the rare occasion where one seller says, I don't think my price is right, let's raise it. So I believe what's happening is that sellers are still being very ambitious, and they are finding a ceiling. There's this potential for a ceiling. And while prices are still moving up, they're not moving up at the same velocity.
Right.
And they're not stalling yet. And I've kept thinking they're going to eventually stall. That hasn't happened.
Well, they won't stall when there are things like 198 properties that go under contract. 198 properties that come on the market to the 323 that go under agreement. That doesn't beget stalling, right?
The other part of it is now nationally speaking, I don't have numbers for the state of New Hampshire, but nationally in the fourth quarter last year, 3 out of every 4 active buyers decided to pause.
Wow.
So now that I don't think happened in New Hampshire, but even if it was 1 out of 4, that doesn't mean they paused permanently. I believe that what's happened is people have gotten accustomed to the fact that they're hearing that the rates are probably not going to moderate much, if at all this year, but they're not. Maybe not going. We may be in store for a sort of higher for longer. So this idea of seeing things in the 4s again, probably not the case. Maybe not even the 5s. So now when you see rates in the high 6s, you think, well, okay, maybe that's what I can expect. And listen, waiting to find out that you were right and that they did come into the 5s, what's happening with all this appreciation that's still happening in the market? You're missing out on it.
Let's talk about that in our next segment, shall we?
Okay.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for having me back, and thanks for being with us. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Good Deeds, Real Estate with a Mission.
Goodbye, everybody.